Hello, my name is Catherine Cornish, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors with our company. I'm here to facilitate this discussion and to report any of our findings back to the board. I'll now allow you to introduce yourselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Hillary Geary and I'm from the Department of the Human Resources, and my purpose here today is to talk about issues that have come up in the company in regards to our policy on drug testing.
My name is Corey Nucci, and I am from the Department of Marketing. Today, I'm looking to establish a new policy in order to resolve the conflict between generational gaps within our company.
I'm Corey Harding. I'm the head of accounting here, and I'm here to talk about opposition to drug testing.
My name is Maria Luque. I'm the head of the public relations department, and I'm here to back up why I want to keep the tattoo policy as it is.
Hi, my name is Daniel Bonneau. I am the head of finance of the company, and I'm here to talk also about tattoos and to see if we could change the policy in the company.
Today we are gathered to identify and discuss key issues within our code of ethics and decide whether or not it should be changed, and if so, how. Please refrain from using cell phones, be courteous of speaking times, and do not interrupt one another. Wait until the person is done speaking to comment. I'm now going to ask each of you a question pertaining to your topic of interest. I'm going to start with Maria. Does an employee with visible tattoos affect a company's image?
I do think it affects the company's image. Our current policy is no visible tattoos at all, and I think we should keep this because according to Fox News, a few years ago, tattoos were seen as a symbol for gangs and as a rebellious activity. So people having tattoos in our company will reflect that image. We will be seen as an unprofessional company and as informal.
Any questions?
Is it illegal to discriminate possible employees based on tattoos and their image?
It is not illegal. There's no act that prohibits that. There's an act for not discriminating against people because of their sexes, because of economic status, but not because of tattoos. And so no, it's not illegal.
Moving on to Daniel's question. Does having visible tattoos affect whether a person will be hired, and if they are hired, will they be discriminated against in the workplace?
Well, not disagreeing completely with Maria. I just want to point one thing out first, that I'm not 100% that tattoos should be legal in the company. I know tattoos has its own faults. So from there, I just want to state that we are entering a new cultural generation of young adults. They have taken up a new style. It happens in every generation, they change. And so the term, hipster has come up. So from there, we just have to, either accept the new cultural change, remain professional and all that. But according to Forbes, 26 to 40 years old, 48% of them have tattoos, while 18 to 25-year-olds are only 36 who have tattoos. So, it's not as much as before, so it's actually decreasing little by little. So it's not something we should worry about. But to also address about tattoos is like something that it's not important in the business. What I find important in business is productivity. If a worker is productive, there's no point of not hiring them. It's like giving a scenario. If two prospect employees enter and I interview them, the one with tattoo has an amazing resume and aces interview. Why would I not give her the job to a person who has probably a mediocre resume and a good average interview? According to title, she's the president and CEO of ETP Inc. She quotes, hiring a person is ultimately about qualifications, but the employee does have a right. So it's just saying that if they could qualify for the job, the tattoo should not judge if they should be hired or not.
Any questions?
About the young generations getting tattoos, I totally agree with that, but they're not yet in positions of a higher rank, so it's not the time to make the change. Because right now, they're not the ones hiring or investing in our company. so we have to wait a little bit to do that.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, if they're working behind the desk, I have no problem. They're not gonna be, sponsoring our company. If they were actually making a presentation, I'll be more reluctant of someone with a tattoo because we have to show our company is actually professional.
Are there any other questions? Okay, well, that's a really good segue into Corey's question. How is communication and teamwork affected by the generation gap?
Currently, we do not have a policy over the conflict between generational gaps. Communication has definitely been affected within the teams, especially within my department. At Roger Williams University, they conducted a research study, and they discovered that the veterans, which consist of the first generation, tend to be the most knowledgeable and the most experienced. The second generation, which are the baby boomers, tend to challenge the rules. The Generation X, which is the third generation, they tend to work to live, and they tend to be conservative. The fourth generation, which is the millennials, they tend to be tech savvy, and they sometimes put off the impression that they have a sense of entitlement. So going into that, the technology has been affecting the communication due to the gap of knowledge. So the baby boomers tend to be behind the technology curve, and this can cause the struggle or conflict because of our newly updates and system changes. The millennials are very tech savvy and are easier to adapt to our updates. So this gap of knowledge can cause conflict within a team, and I suggest that we implement a new technology training session in order to keep this conflict at bay. What do you think about this?
If I may, from a human resource department standpoint, that training that you talked about is something that we can do for our employees that would really help for the issue that you're talking about, where we can try to identify key areas where additional information is needed so that we can have more cohesion among our employees, and that would be really effective.
Do you have any other comments or questions? Well, that brings us to,
Yes, sorry. Because of these different personalities, I believe that we should take a new approach to management as well because of the conflict within the teams. So according to Karen Myers from Journal of Business and Psychology, I believe that the millennials love to get feedback, and they love relationships not only with coworkers but us as employers. So other than implementing more meetings to talk about personal growth, what else can we do to keep this underway without causing too much conflict and struggle within our teams?
What are we supposed to do? I'm sorry,
Okay,
can you
so
repeat again?
other than just implementing more meetings so we can
Okay, yeah.
discuss personal growth, what can we do in order to what else can we do? What else can we supplement?
We could do social events so that people can, interact outside of the workplace in a more intimate way.
I really like that idea. It's a great idea.
Sometimes it's just the understanding that different employees have different ways of learning. They have different paces of how they learn. So it's just becoming more aware, like we said with that training, to make every employee aware of how other employees can learn just as much and be just as a productive employee, but they have different ways of going about it. So.
well, moving on to our next topic. My question is for you, Hillary. What are some alternatives to the company's current policy on drug testing?
Well, currently our company policy on drug testing is that we try to do it across the board. So that means we do pre-employment testing, where we test our employees before we allow them to come on board into the company. We do post-accident drug testing. So if any incidents should occur, we immediately drug test to protect ourselves as a company from liability from that accident, and just to ensure we have all the facts of what happened in that accident. And then we also do a random drug testing. Basically, once a year at random, we'll pick employees to drug test. So from a human resource department standpoint, we don't want to intrude on the privacy of our employees, but employees off-the-job involvement with drugs may impact the company. And so that is why it's important for us as a company to want to make sure that our reputation stays intact and that our employees are always at the most professional that they can be. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, a drug-free workplace provides improvement in morale, productivity, it reduces absenteeism, it reduces accidents, it lowers the turnover rate, and it lowers the rate of theft in our company. And people who abuse drugs will more than likely change jobs frequently. They'll be late or absent, and they're more likely to be involved in workplace accidents. And they're more likely to file workers' compensation according to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services, they report that healthcare costs for substance abusers are twice, the costs for the substance abusers are twice that of regular employees. And as far as, a lot of times it comes up the issues that whether or not we can legally drug test our employees. And according to the Texas Workforce Commission, there are really no limitations to what a private sector company can do as far as drug testing. It's only for federal workers that there's actual federal laws mandating drug tests. So a private sector company it's at their discretion of whether they want to drug test or not. So I feel for our company, it's important that we do drug tests so that we can maintain a reputation and professionalism for our company.
Are there any other questions or comments? Well, that leads us to Corey's final question. Should the company not require drug testing?
No, the company should not. I believe the company is overstepping their boundaries from workplace into people's private lives. My only concern is if an employee can actually do their job and show up to work on time. Outside of that, if they show up late, they don't do their job well, they're let go just like any other employee. As Hillary said, the Texas Workplace Commission does not require drug tests by law. It's up to the management of the company. Some reasons given by Human Resources in an article at Monster.com points out that resentment of the workplace is created by false accusations and also the litigation that follows that. Also, overreaction in the workplace is caused by false positive drug tests, such as prescription drugs or a once in a blue moon poppy seed drug test. Also, additional expenses are created from testing or possibly rehabilitation. Google doesn't condone drug tests, but they only do drug tests after an incident at the workplace or a suspicion by management or a supervisor. Company Buckle, they also offer possible rehabilitation for certain employees that test positive. The last point I want to make is the negative effect on morale of the company. This is seen, as Samantha Hanley of the Houston Chronicle points out, this is an authoritarian action upon powerless employees. And the ACLU points out privacy concerns such as direct versus indirect observation, medical history could be possibly revealed, and also the false positives, as was brought up in my previous points. But I like Hillary's ideas about mobile test units and an HR hotline to address these concerns. So I think we should implement these afterward.
So as far as your concerns about certain employees bringing up issues that it's against, or it's invasion of their privacy, or that that's an authoritative thing as far as what the company's doing. So that's where, like you said, that we could do that hotline where maybe we could relax our drug testing policy and not have to be so invasive with it, but we could still have the hotline there in the Human Resource Department so that we still have the ability to ensure that employees are
at the best that they can be at all times while they're working on the premises.
I agree with you. I think that covers the majority of the points that I brought up.
So can we all agree that the code of ethics needs to be modified?
Yes.
Yes.
As far as drug testing, what would you guys propose?
So as we discussed, we currently drug test in 3 areas: post-accident, pre-employment, and random drug testing. So based on what Corey has discussed here today, I would think it was feasible to drop the random drug testing and just focus on the pre-employment and the post-accident.
I agree. I accept that.
Okay, and adding a mobile testing unit and an HR hotline would be beneficial?
That's something that we could test out and try to implement.
Okay. As far as the generational gap, I think that training came up. Would you
Yes.
like to elaborate?
I believe that we should implement training sessions before we begin updating or changing our system. So the veterans or baby boomers and the Generation X can ease into the new system and new updates and new technology that we add to our company. And so then it will be more rounded, everyone will know and understand what we are implementing and how our company will run.
And as far as the tattoo policy, how would you guys like to handle it?
It will remain the same, no visible tattoos at the workplace.
Okay. So today we have discussed and identified key issues within the Code of Ethics and decided that our Code of Ethics must be modified. We are going to drop random drug testing and keep pre-employment and post-accident drug testing. We're also going to implement mobile testing units in the workplace and an HR hotline to maintain the safety of employees. We will keep the no visible tattoo policy and implement a new training policy to address the generational gap communication issues. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to our audience. Are there any other questions?
I actually have a question.